get him. Let's go get him today, man. Let's go. Hey, dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Talking about defensive coordinator, what do you think about Lovie Smith as a defensive coordinator next year?
I like Lovie Smith. He's a really good coach. I'm going to say this. This is one thing that I 100% trust. I 100% trust Kyle Shanahan on. Whoever he picks, I'm not questioning it. If there's one thing I trust him on above anything, it's his ability to evaluate coaches. He hired Robert Saleh, never heard of him, made fun of the hire. 2 years later, I'm eating my words. They promote DeMeco. I'm like, man, this is a Super Bowl team. Don't you want someone with some experience? No. Like, whoever Kyle picks, I'm cool with. Whoever. If it's someone I've never heard of, I'm like, all right, he must be good. Because I think that's something Kyle knows. Like, he grew up around coaches. He was born to be a coach. He may think that he's a wide receiver at heart. He's just a coach's coach. I think he knows. So, yeah, Lovie Smith is cool, though. If he picks Lovie, I love Lovie.
Kyle's just good at developing, like understanding and developing coaches. That's something that's been clear the entirety of his regime. You said it with the defensive coordinators, not picking just one, but two really good defensive coordinators, and really all the promotions. Brian Greasy this year was a phenomenal hire when a lot of people questioned it.
I made fun of that.
No coaching experience.
I made fun of that. Yeah.
So, Grant, I think the theory is you got to make fun of the coaching hire, and then it'll turn out good.
Again, this is all the process of quality control. People try to pull receipts on me. I am not trying to be a fortune teller. I am trying to push the right motivational buttons, and clearly I do, so it's okay.
Yeah, but Lovie Smith, here's what I'll say. I would be fine with it, but I think there are better options. My number one guy, if we're looking for an external guy that has experience, is Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz runs a pretty solid defense, a good 4-3 defense, and I think he's just a little less predictable than Lovie Smith. Lovie Smith is your traditional Tampa 2 4-3 defense guy. I think, though, the 49ers have thrived on masking their issues defensively, such as guys like Diamondo Lenore at times, such as, last year, their entire secondary at times. And I think they do a good job of that. And that's why I want something a little less predictable. I want someone who is able to use more stunts, someone who's able to kind of be more creative with his defensive approach. I think that's what DeMeco Ryans excels at. And so that's where I think Jim Schwartz might be my number one guy. But I wouldn't mind Lovie Smith, obviously, an esteemed defensive coordinator.
Jim Schwartz is interesting, too, because he's worked with Kosaric before for a long time. That's a good call.
Yeah, all of his 5 years in Detroit. All of his 5 years.
He's a wide 9 guy. So it could work. The only thing I would say is I just don't see Kyle Shanahan hiring a defensive coordinator who does he want a guy with experience? He didn't the last two times.
That's very fact. That's
the last two times he hired guys who had no experience, and I think Kyle Shanahan likes hiring people who are his age or a little bit younger and inexperienced, and him being like, I can tell that he's a good coach. I mean, and plus you don't know about him. Also, if you have an older guy on the staff, he has his own ideas. There might be more conflict. I don't know. I know there were rumors that they wanted Vic Fangio, but it doesn't sound like they're going to get Vic Fangio. It sounds like he's going to go with Sean Payton. I would bet on – I also don't think Kyle wants to change the philosophy of the defense. I don't think he wants someone coming in with his own ideas saying we should do this, this, and this. It's like, man, this defense has been doing one thing for a while, and it works. Why would you change it? So I feel like it might be someone on the staff already. They might be. I keep going back to what's the dude's name, the guy in secondary, Corey Undlin.
Okay.
Just because he's the pass game coordinator right now, which means he's like one step away from being a coordinator. He was a coordinator in Detroit. He's here. He's like working underneath DeMeco right now. He knows what DeMeco does. That just seems like kind of how the Niners do business. But look, the secondary isn't great, so I don't know. Maybe Kyle would go in a different direction. I don't know.
Yeah.
Although, really, you can't fault Corey Undlin for Diamondo not having ball skills. I'm sorry.
Nah, I think Corey Undlin could be a guy. I think my number one internal guy would be Johnny Holland. I still think that
Johnny Holland.
In a way, DeMeco Ryans, you go in the way of DeMeco Ryans' footsteps. He's the new linebackers coach. He's been it since Ryans was promoted. And I think Holland has done a very good job, not only with development, but it seems also with in terms of the personality, what you see from the linebackers, it seems like every single one comes to play. And I think you need that type of person, a guy who's driving those type of personalities. I think you need that type of person at the helm. That's why I would not mind if Johnny Holland was the guy. And the good thing is Holland is so under the radar. You likely get him for at least 2 years. If he pans out, you're going to get him at least 2 years as your defensive coordinator, providing some stability.
Here's what I think about Holland. Super underrated coach, probably the best linebacker coach in the league. He is as good or better than Chris Kasarik. Just doesn't get the love. But I mean, look at the guys they've developed. You know, I mean, they're a freaking linebacker factory, and they have the best linebackers in the league. He deserves more credit. But I'm looking at his coaching career. And I've never talked to him about this. I don't even know if he would want to be a coordinator. There's some coaches. Of course he would. It would come with a big time pay raise. I'm sure he'd love to. Although I asked Chris Kasarik if he wants to be a coordinator, and he flat out said no. He's like, no, I don't want to look at coverages. I just want to do my job. So maybe Johnny Holland is the best linebacker coach. He's good on details. I don't know. I don't want to speak for him. I don't know him that well. But sometimes they're big picture people, and sometimes they're little detail people. And Chris Kasarik will tell you he's a little detail person. He wants to look at the get off, who's getting off the ball fastest, all that, the little details of making good pass rushers better. Some people want to look at the big picture of game planning and coverages and all that, how it ties together. I don't know if that's his skill set, but out of respect to Johnny, I'm not going to say one way or another because I don't know. But Kyle will know. So I think Kyle has certain people on his staff that he says he's a big picture guy. I want to mentor him because he's going to go through the ranks. Or this guy is the best freaking linebacker coach. I want to keep him forever. Bobby Turner, best running back coach in the world, but probably not going to be. Probably doesn't have aspirations to be an OC. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know where Johnny Holland falls, but I kind of look at there's like two classes of coaches on the Niners.
I think I get what you mean. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. At least how Kyle thinks of him. Sorry. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nah, I think that's fair, and it is true. Some of the guys, Kosarek will not be a coordinator. It seems Kosarek's going to be in the role that he wants to be. Yeah. The one last name that I'll just throw out just for fun, because I think that he could be an under the radar guy, is going to be pass game coordinator over there in Baltimore, Chris Hewitt. I think he's one of the up and coming guys. He's been with Baltimore for like 7 years. He's their defensive back coach for a while, and then he became their pass defense coordinator. I think that could help the 49ers, having a guy who understands the value of the secondary, because that's where the 49ers normally have had to mask their identity. So that's where I'll look for as well if we were looking at external and you wanted a guy with no coordinator experience.
Also, I'm available. I could do it. I think so. I mean, I think I could call. I could say, hey, Nick Bosa, sack the quarterback. I'm just kidding. Nick, do your thing. Cover 3, rushing 4.